After a while in the dungeon, that protagonist thought it was strange, he thought. He had gone deep enough into this cave. Did he misunderstand the structure of this gate? Why haven't monsters appeared yet? The protagonist suddenly felt a magical power. Thought that this mana was small and rough, but full of life force. It looks like it belongs to a person, so Sumi and Eels entered the gate after. MC thought, looking out from the shelter, what is going on there? Is it a monster? At that moment, the golem struck the hunter with its blow. After a while, Yun froze in horror, looking at the body of his alive swordsman. Asked in horror, was he killed with one blow? The sorceress said in fear that this could not be Heshout, that they must calm down, they must not panic. If they do not pull themselves together, then they will. Aldi, they shouted that there is danger behind him. Yun blocked the golem's blow at the last moment, but the creature pounced with renewed vigor, and then he used his abilities to strengthen his magic shield, after Yunong jumped up and brought down a powerful blow on the golem. The protagonist watched the fight with interest from the shelter. Deswardsman said that as expected, he emphasizes defense, but a rank is still a strong hunter, the sorceress said with a smile. That he had done well even against such a huge creature. He said that they needed to take Chin's body Anthon. They would return suddenly. The golem rose up and grabbed Yun with its stone hand. And then the creature pinned him to the ground. The golem tested the hunter's body in every way possible, and then threw him aside. The swordsman shouted his name, and the creature pounced on him, but he blocked its blow with his sword the next moment. He was surprised to think that his sword had broken the golem, hit him with all its strength, causing him to fly into the opposite wall of the cave. The sorceress looked in horror at her ally, who showed no signs of life. The huge creature stood in front of her. She screamed in fear as the golem was about to strike at the last moment. Yun protected her with his shield. He gritted his teeth, trying to restrain his opponent. Yun ordered her to use binding magic now. If they couldn't defeat this creature, they wouldn't leave here alive. Their entire team would be wiped out. He shouted, asking her to hurry up. Yonan turned around and saw the sorceress running away. He thought, why did she do that? Where was she running? Was she seriously going to abandon them? She was running away from this battle with a horrified expression on her face, the swordsman thought, biting his lip. What about chill men? This was wrong, Yun thought. That who was asking her not to leave. He was begging her not to run away. At that moment the golem struck him down with its blow. Before he lost consciousness, he thought that the betrayal had not caused anger in him, but emptiness. He had received a rank awakening during the strange dungeon breakthrough phenomenon. He had been bombarded with invitations from large guilds. He had met good people, assembled a team, and had achieved good results. Everything was going well for him. However, it ended in such a miserable way. Unexpectedly, the protagonist threw a stone at the golem and declared, when the creature looked at him, that it was a disgusting sight. Is this natural in humans? In any case, at least. He did an analysis. Indeed, everything becomes obvious up close. The model of this creature is very outdated, right? However, it does not matter. He's still glad to meet them. The protagonist thought that the golem was a stone doll that moved with the help of magic on Alpha Ori. They performed a variety of functions, from routine operations, such as construction work, to military equipment. These creatures played an important role in the formation of their nation, and he even has a degree in combat. Golem Research MC noted that there are no monsters left here because this golem is on guard. It is as if the gate is the private property of this creature. When Seath Guard is awake, it won't be so easy to leave, it seems. He's forced to deal with this, Curio said, as the golem weighs about to strike. That he couldn't use magic, but there were always other options. After the protagonist dodged the blow, and the creature rushed towards him again, the protagonist easily dodged the huge stone hands, the creature deliberator, crushing blow, using both of its hands, but MC jumped aside at the last moment. After which, Curio thought nervously that this monologue sounded confident, but in reality, everything is not so simple. He can avoid the attacks of this creature due to its size and general clumsiness. However, its body is too weak. The protagonist dodged the enemy's blow at the last moment. After that, the golem began to deliver a series of blows, which the protagonist successfully dodged. The creature struck the ground hard and his hand got stuck. MC thought that this is exactly what he expected. The golem, Izzy, to stop the huge stone in its hand, is not just a decoration, but a sensor for recognizing magical power. It eyes in out to send an emergency stop command to the sensor in terms of safety. Only the owner or creator of the golem can do this. Kiryu used magic, and thought that however the circuit of this crude and old model can be disassembled at a glance. After the golem fell to the ground, the protagonist thought as he climbed on this creature that the emergency stop command does not completely turn off the golem too. Completely turn off, you need to get Tuthcore on the back, and this needs to be pulled out. The protagonist noted that he does not want to do this without tools. However, what choice does he have? MC opened the back panel of the golem and ripped out the core of this creature after Kiryu said that it was quite simple after a while. Yanan tried to get up and remembered the past when his mother said that she understood his desire to become a hunter. However, don't understand the risk, he said with a smile, that she should not worry about him. He may not be that cool on the outside, but he is an A rank. She said that this does not count the dangers that hunters meet on their way. She wants to respect his choice, but she is still worried. Young took his mother's hands in his and declared that he would become a famous hunter. She needn't worry, he promised that he would definitely succeed. She needed to believe him, at least. This time he should go already. His mother said with a smile that he should be careful at work afterwards. In Fokav, Jan opened his eyes and tried to get up. He looked at the defeated golem and thought in surprise, how is this possible? What happened here? Did he really destroy the monster with his bare hands? Wait, how could there even be a human here? There was definitely a warning tape at the entrance, so he is a hunter. The protagonist threw the golem score on the ground, and Yan Sung thought that it was approaching him. This curse, he still can't move. Normally the protagonist stood next to him and asked, holding out his hand, does he need help? After a while in a high-rise building, Yunang noted an annoyance. These damn journalists again. There was an article on the tablet that Theorank Gate had opened for the first time in Korea, and Hunter Yoon refused to comment. He asked why they had written sack a headline. There was nothing about it in the text. The manager asked how he could be dissatisfied. He knew that another hunter had defeated the golem, but he couldn't even name him. If he was stronger than him, he couldn't be one recognized him even from his description could be an unregistered hunter. Let the journalist's attention be focused on the A-rank monster, he shouted at the manager. Indignantly, he said that it was for his own good. He was risking harm to his career. If an A-rank hunter showed weakness, he would immediately become a target for others. Why didn't they tell him that he had defeated the golem? Yan said, apologizing that it was more important for him to remain honest. It was the least way to thank that hunter. He didn't look like a person involved in anything illegal. The manager asked if he was sure about that. He noted that otherwise, this hunter would not have let him go alive. This is a good man to whom he is now indebted. He said that now he understands everything. If he insists so much, then he can leave. Yoon said that then he leaves afterwards. The manager said that this is a hunter who easily killed the golem, which even Young could not cope with. If there is a strong hunter with such a character, then he would like to meet him at least on Sifter. Sometime in the protagonist's room, MC looked at the phone in awe and asked, what is this? Kiryu thought, that's people on Earth are amazing. He accidentally unlocked his phone last night and he didn't let go of it until dawn. The protagonist asked, so the information is freely available, even to the underprivileged. Class, did he go to Hyven? The protagonist thought that he had collected a lot of information thanks to this thing. First, the gate Hewis in was not private property. It was written on the phone that if transactions between large guilds, Lakoth Korean Magic Tower, were excluded, civilians could not buy or sell private land. With a gate, there should be a management at the entrance for security reasons. MC thought that second, all gates had entry restrictions. Korea was a country that took control of all awakened people, so even entering the gate required permission. The licensing agency was the Korean Hunters Association, or Han. For short, third, Yunang was not a thief who tried to rob Sumian Elsa's gate. After a while, Kiryu noted that this meant he needed to get a hunter's license. The protagonist studied a list of things needed to get a license. After some time at the territory of the Hunter Association, an employee from Hanup said that they had completed the theoretical course on gate safety, needed to wait a little now. They would have given devices. The protagonist thought, yawning, that this was boring. This whole lecture could be summed up in words, just and be idiots. Afterwards, the MC was given a device necessary for further processing to obtain a hunter's license. Securio asked what it was. The other participants asked in surprise. Did he really not know? What it was for had Hiruli been kept in a cave his whole life. The protagonist nervously thought, were they starting to suspect something? The employee noted that this was a basic analyzer. This device uses Pixelas technology now. He will To use it, the protagonist thought that the name was interesting. It seemed to mean Pixie's glass. After a while, the employee happily asked, did everyone get their analyzers? They should try to point the lens at these monsters, MC thought, looking at the monster. So just point the lens. The device said that it was a poisonous butterfly. Frank Curio thought, looking closely at the analyzer. So people from Earth use devices to identify enemies. The employee said with a smile that the analyzer can identify more than just monsters. This device has an item search function, the protagonist asked. What he meant, he said that it will help find valuable resources. He can look around and try it himself. The protagonist used the analyzer on the employee, and the device reported that nothing was detected, no useful data. Mick thought that it does not work on people. Curio then used the device on a plant nearby, and the device reported that itis, a simple fruit, a fruit-bearing plant, with red flesh, and a lot of fibers. The protagonist thought that now he understood what the item analysis function looked like, so this should recognize it too. The protagonist pointed the lens at his shadow, and the device wrote that nothing was detected, no useful data. MC was puzzled, asking why this happened. It should analyze valuable resources. Right, Curio realized and thought, can it really only detect objects with mana? Does this mean that the value of any resource is determined only by this parameter? This is a convenient and simple method. Although this device is very much lacking in accuracy, there are many valuable resources around that do not contain mana. Soil is a prime example. At first glance, it is unremarkable, but it is an absorbent, a rare substance for absorbing mana. Apparently no one here knows about such magic, although this is strange in a world where magical research is at least a little developed. Absorbance cannot be missed. Why are they not aware of it? Wait, is this really the reason? After that, the protagonist turned to the employee and asked if he could tell when magicians began to appear in Korea, although not so when did the awakened ones start appearing. The employee noted that it was years ago. The opening of the dungeons was a shock to everyone. That was when the awakened ones started appearing all over the world. The protagonist thought, is he serious? Only years have passed. Why has it been so little time? Alfori has a history of magic that goes back over years now. It all became clear to him. All this time he was surrounded by a primitive species. That's why all their electronics only work on electricity. He thought it was strange from the beginning. Mick looked at the device and thought that this planet has a primitive level of magic research over. They compensated for this with technology that does not match the level of knowledge. He would never have believed that evolution could take such a strange turn. This is truly amazing, Curio thought, as he picked up the soil in his hand. Anyway, he can use an absorbent that no one knows about, a profession that can earn hundreds of millions. Hunter, but the fantasies in the media often have nothing to do with reality. Low-ranked hunters live in hell, not only does Curio have a problem with one leg of his new body. He can't even use magic before he finds himself on the brink. Again, he needs to find new ways to make money. He looked at the bag filled with absorbent. From what he'd observed, there were monsters on Earth that could be killed with it, but the problem was that they lived in Siren gates, and with his Frank he couldn't enter them. It would be hard for him to start a mana absorption magic business when he knew so little about this planet. He also had a weak body, so he had nothing but problems. Suddenly his phone rang loudly, causing him to become very scared. He received a notification about an emergency on July th at nth afternoon. A dungeon breakthrough occurred. A B-rank monster appeared at the Red Gate in the Mapo district. The evacuation will be announced after the direction of the monsters. Movement is confirmed. He read the message in confusion, then got dressed and headed for the exit. Although he doesn't really understand everything, he's extremely entered in watching it. When he arrived at the site of the breakthrough, he found that all the people wearing away in panic and others were standing and filming everything on their phones. He quickly found himself in the crowd of the second type, and along with them looked up at the huge monster sitting on top of the building. The guy with the camera ran forward and accidentally pushed Curio, causing him to fall. and instead of apologizing, he told him not to make a scene, and seeing that he looked up at him with a gloomy look, asked what kind of face he was making. Was he asking for trouble? MC didn't understand what kind of nonsense he was talking at all. After all, he just came to observe. The guy smirked, and showing him his camera said that, by the way, a hunter was standing in front of him, and unlike him, he doesn't hang around monsters in the hopes of one day awakening. He is doing research working. Stood up and told him that he is also a hunter, and came for the same reason. While he was setting up the camera, he asked what his rank was, and he answered him with a gloomy expression that he was Frank. The guy was drooling from laughter but decided not to say anything, and Curio thought, what just happened? Did he laugh at him? Suddenly shots and a loud roar were heard from above. Helicopters were circling around the monster, and the soldiers in them were firing at the enemy, so as not to let it get to the civilians, but one of the helicopters flew too close to the monster, and it hit him with its tail, causing the helicopter to fall and explode. At that moment, a squad of hunters arrived. The people inside the building where the monster was sitting ran away in panic. Seeing that it was breaking through their glass, it managed to get inside and grabbed several people with its tongue and swung its head to pull them towards it, but something made it stop. The hunter cut out the creature's tongue, freeing the civilians, and the monster let out a painful roar. Another hunter, Yunsung, was watching from a helicopter and noticed that the monster was trying to escape under the tower and warned the others. The archer pulled a fire arrow on her boring and then fired several at the monster's tail. The monster dropped it to get away and began to quickly descend, which is when the hunter decided to stop. Yunsung jumped off the helicopter and, armed with a shield, fell right on the monster and struck. He pressed the shield harder, causing the monster to fall, and then fell after it and struck a powerful blow that left a huge dent in the creature's neck. He took a deep breath, and then from all directions there were cheers from the civilians who were happy about the hunter's victory. The guy with the camera was especially delighted, and MC turned his attention to the people he was filming. The three hunters walked towards the crowd, and he realized that this search had borne some fruit in this world. Rank hunters are the elite, which is percent of the awakened. They made a huge contribution to the protection of humanity, so they became everyone's idols. People started pushing and shoving, trying to get through to them, and he wondered why everyone was so excited suddenly. Yunsung awkwardly called out to Curio and grabbed his hand, asking him excitedly, "Is that him? How lucky that he met. He owes his life to him. He may have forgotten him, but he is the guy he pulled out of the dungeon." MC told him thought he understood him, and thought that now he understood why he seemed so familiar. Meanwhile, the hunter next to him was looking at the two of them in shock, and Yunning asked if that was a member of his group. He gave him a displeased look and said that he saw him staring at them, although he looked angry from the outside. He really wasn't, but guy didn't know that, and that made him nervous. Curio looked at him and thought that if he were in his place, he would be looking at him too, after which Yunin finally turned away from him and decided to introduce himself to them with a smile. Since he had the chance, he gave his name and asked his, and then handed him his business card and asked if he had some free time. He awkwardly scratched the back of his head and added that he wanted to discuss something with him.